Shalom. We are the Isupk coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahan. And today's topic is, Job was not an Edomite. There's a lot of groups out there that don't come from the 1 West stock that think that Job was an Edomite, only because of where he lived at. But at the same time, we can see brothers and sisters living in, like, say, for instance, in whatever city you in. And it's like, say, for instance, you in Chicago, right? And you have the north side of Chicago, where you have a bunch of Edomites and Amalekites living there. Well, just because a black man, lives there, doesn't mean he's an Edomite. You see what I'm saying? Because our people always have a situation where we want to cross over. Sometimes this even happens with righteous men sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's start with Job chapter 1 and verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job. Now, it said that he was in the land of Uz. Where was Uz? Uz was inside Edom. The name of the land of Uz was actually named after one of the descendants of Seir the Horite, because that's where the Edomites lived at. They lived in Mount Seir. You see what I'm saying? It was a covenant between the Horites and the Edomites, where they started intermarrying with one another. But what eventually ended up happening was the Horites were overcome by the children of Edom. You see what I'm saying? Just like when the white man makes a league with anybody, eventually what does he do? Anybody that goes to the covenant with the white man always overcomes them. He takes their stuff, takes their inheritance. In a lot of cases, he takes their identity, just like he did with us. He took our identity, and he became the Jews. He took the identity over in Europe, he destroyed them. Now he's Japheth. You see what I'm saying? He went down. Okay, go ahead.
Shalom. The same with the Indians.
Right.
Destroyed the Indians. Now he's Indian.
Right. Now he's an Indian. Now he's a Choctaw. You know what I'm saying? A Cherokee. That's what the white man does all over the earth, and it's no different from what he done in Mount Seir. He did that in Mount Seir, but Job himself was an Israelite living in that land. You see what I'm saying? Now, as we go back to chapter 1 and verse 1, it says, "And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil." Now, when it said that he was one that feared God and eschewed evil, that starts to counsel out the white man in reality. You see what I'm saying? Because the white men have their own gods, just like every other nation. They have their own gods that they worship and all of that. And when you mingle the two gods, the Lord don't look at that as the fear of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Now, you do have one. You do have, like, say for instance, Moses' father-in-law, but he totally severed himself from Midian. You see what I'm saying? And from the ways of the Midianites, right? He totally severed himself from that people in order for him to cling on to the God of the Israelites. Well, in reality, that's what any Gentile, any heathen would have to do. He would have to totally disown his own people. You see what I'm saying? He would have to totally do that and totally sever himself from the gods of the other nations, or from his nation. But at the same time, no nation is willing to do that. You know why? Because we're on the bottom, and they're all over us. So they figure, why should we, look to your God when look at us and look at you? You see what I'm saying? So that's killing that whole grafted in thing, because they love to use this. They love, like, these Yisraelite groups love to say that Job was an Edomite, so that they can, talk about grafting in the Gentiles. They come in with a crazy doctrine now that comes straight from Amalek. You know what I'm saying? And it's that anything that comes from Eber is a Hebrew. You see what I'm saying? Have you ever heard this before, young man?
Yes,
You never heard this before. Yeah, this is taught among them. You know what I'm saying? Among these groups that that are these congregations that are like rooted in like the movement of the commandment keepers, things like that. You know what I'm saying? They kind of rooted more out of that movement. You see, and they teach that. They teach that Job was an Edomite, and they also teach that anything that comes from Eber was a Hebrew. You see what I'm saying? So what they're trying to say is the white man is actually really a Hebrew. They're trying to say that the Arab man, since he comes out of Shem, is a Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to say that anything that comes out of Shem and Eber are Hebrews. But in reality, there's one nation that is the Hebrews, and that's the nation of Israel. The 12 tribes of Israel, we're the only Hebrews that is out there. You see what I'm saying? That's why Abraham was called Abraham the Hebrew. Now, Abraham had brothers. He had Nahor, and he had Haran. They were his brothers. But wow, he was the only one that was called the Hebrew. They weren't. You see what I'm saying? Hell, his father wasn't even called the Hebrew. That is a covenant that was made with Abraham, you know what I'm saying? Because the Lord was going to start to do something through him that he wasn't doing with the others. You see what I'm saying? Like, say, for instance, when Abraham had his children. You see what I'm saying? He had Isaac. And then he also had he had Ishmael, and he had the 6 sons that he had with Keturah. How many of them was called a Hebrew? Do you know, young man?
No, sir.
Only one. And that was Isaac. The covenant was made with him. And from Isaac, you have Jacob. And the covenant and the blessing of the covenant rested upon Jacob. It didn't rest upon the other ones. You see what I'm saying? It didn't rest upon Abraham, and it didn't rest upon Isaac. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With it resting upon them would mean that everything that would come from their loins would be that. You see what I'm saying? But he caused the blessing of the covenant to rest upon Jacob, means whatever Jacob produced out of his loins would be a Hebrew. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But that's why they're coming with this doctrine. That's why they're coming with the doctrine, trying to say Job was Esau, so now that we can graft in Edomites. Because, see, they can have to go. Okay, go ahead.
Shalom. Is that a part of the agenda to try to get their way into heaven? White people trying to say that they Jewish and Hebrew?
Well, really, they're not trying to get their way into heaven. What they're actually really trying to do, because, see, Jewish people, they know what's up. You see what I'm saying? They know that we're the children of the covenant and they're not. So really, they're not trying to get in heaven. What they're trying to actually do is stop heaven from coming.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the ways that they're stopping heaven from coming, they're trying to stop the kingdom. Remember when in the prayer that says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Well, they're trying to stop the heaven part. You see what I'm saying? Because with the will of heaven coming down to earth, that will make earth just like heaven. They're in the middle to block that. You see what I'm saying? That's why they're pushing that doctrine so that they can do just like they did in any movement of us. Well, they did in the civil rights movement and all of that, right? You had the truth coming out during that time, during the 60s. What did they do? They mingled themselves in and they made this brotherhood like we were their brothers, so that they can take all the strength out of the movement and use it for their own purpose. Next thing you know, we are rap stars up under them and rapping about killing, raping, you know what I'm saying, and all of that stuff up under them while they're getting wealthy and powerful off of it, you know what I'm saying, and controlling our whole image. You see what I'm saying? And our strength. That's what the same thing they plan on doing with this movement right here, with us, you know what I'm saying, with this truth. They're trying to do the same thing. Jewish men desire to be inside the UPK. You see what I'm saying? Because they figure they can dismantle us. Then that would hinder the kingdom of heaven from coming, and they might have more years to rule. You see what I'm saying? where they see it, they might have another 100. If they can leaven inside us and stop that. You see what I'm saying? Now, with us not letting them do that, right? Now they're going to have to pull the mask off, show who they really are, do what it is that they're going to do, so Christ will go ahead and come back. You see what I'm saying? And what it is that they're going to do, take the mask off and just start killing. They won't hide who they are anymore. But they know once they do that, once they pull that move, they know Yahushua coming. So what they want to do is level themselves among us. You see what I'm saying? So now with them leveling with us and us joining with them, they can figure, well, the Lord's not going to just wipe us out because they are joined with us. You see what I'm saying? So there, but the ISUPK is there to stop all of that. These other groups, they're not. A Jewish man can come into their congregation, no problem. You know what I'm saying? He's leavening all of them. You know what I'm saying? He's mingling himself among them, but they really desire to come to us because we're the strongest. You see what I'm saying? We're the only ones that are actually strong. They're losing all their strength. They're coming apart. They're coming undone, and we are on the uprise, and we're being magnified. So who do they really want to get with? They want to get with us. You see what I'm saying? And the fake Israelite groups who they join themselves to and start to finance, once they see that those groups can't shut us down, they're going to turn on them. You see what I'm saying? But don't mean to digress, but let's get back to the scriptures. And eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 5,000 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was great of all the men of the east. Right? Now, notice it said, now this is what tripping people up. See, they like, this said, of all the people of the east. Mean Job, you know what I'm saying? Job was an Edomite. He wasn't an Israelite. You had people that lived in other areas. Even when we was on top, we had people that lived in other areas. You see what I'm saying? And with these people that, the brothers that lived in other areas, now notice that the prophecy is that we will be a nation of kings and priests. So think about it. If we're going to be a nation of kings and priests, that means we will also be ruling over other people in their lands. You see what I'm saying? Once we're on top, we're going to be controlling everybody just like what they're doing with us now, just like the Jewish man is doing now. He's controlling lands and stuff that he's not even in. But even when he's in those lands, you see what I'm saying? Say the Jewish man they stay at what is that place? Zionsville? They stay somewhere like in that area, right? You see what I'm saying? And how are they living?
They live like big old houses, streets paved in gold.
Right. You see what I'm saying? Just like in Chicago, what is that, Towie Boulevard or whatever you call it? You see all the, you see the urban ghettos of us, then you go and you see them. You see what I'm saying? And we're in the same geographic location. You see what I'm saying? But one group is living different than the other group. You see? So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. What did the Lord do? The Lord magnified him. You see what I'm saying? Just like he do with all his people that are keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. He wants to magnify him, you know what I'm saying, so that, these people became servants unto Job. You see what I'm saying? But Job did have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Job was perfect, no doubt. But the Lord was looking at his, Job transgressed. And when a person transgressed in their perfection, the Lord got to get out. That's why, the devil was able to go up, Satan was able to go up to the Most High, and the Lord presented him. He's like, have you considered my servant Job? You see what I'm saying? because the Lord knew I got to do something about this. Without that, if it wasn't for that, the Lord never would have even presented him. You know what I'm saying? He would have never even presented him to Job. You know, was presented Job to him, rather. But the Lord knew that he had transgressions, but he was going to use those transgressions of Job to purify him instead of destroy him. You see what I'm saying? That's what was going on here. All right, let's go back to the scriptures. And his sons went and feasting in their houses, every one in his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. Now, what nation does that? You know what I'm saying? Now, Job is also in fear, and fear is the opposite of faith. You know what I'm saying? When the white man is in fear, you know, what does the white man do? The white man starts killing blacks and gets us back up under his subjection. You know what I'm saying? And he's able to rest easy because of that. Well, Job is in fear and he's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? He's not going and killing any Israelites or even killing the people in the land or any of that. You know, he's fearing something right here because he knows that his children is really not walking in the ways of the Lord. Because the Lord made a covenant with, you know, young man?
The Israelites.
Right. That's what he was afraid of. You see what I'm saying? Another, you know, like say for instance, Artaxerxes. Artaxerxes' children, you know, he's not going to be in fear, so in fear that the Lord is going to destroy his children for not, you know, worshiping the Lord. Because he understands that the gods of the Persians and the Medes are different. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord his hand is not going to be set at them, against them, unless they're doing some serious wickedness, like killing, you know what I'm saying, Hebrews and doing all types of, you know what I'm saying, wicked, evil type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like a whole lot of evil kings have done. You know, but Job's children wasn't doing this. Job's children were only just stunting. You know what I'm saying? You know, they were more about the food and the drink and the pleasure and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Just like niggas do. You know what I'm saying? They got the rap video going on at the feast. You know what I'm saying? Got the wine and the food and everything. They stunting, taking pictures and shit. You know what I'm saying? And Job saw that about his children, and he's like, you know, their heart's not right. He knew their heart's not right. But what Job started to do, he started to sacrifice out of fear. You see what I'm saying? Out of fear of that the Lord will slay his children. You see what I'm saying? Which that happens with a lot of us because the same niggas are stunting in the videos. You know what I'm saying? When you look up videos on the YouTube, rappers in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And some of them ain't out there, you know, killing niggas and all of that. You know? But they out there stunting and their heart's not with the Lord, you know what I'm saying? And they're aligning themselves with Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? You know, because where was Job living at? In the land of Uz, in the land of Edom. You know what I'm saying? And Job's friends, Job had Edomite friends and friends of other nations. This is the scary thing about having friends of other nations. Because your heart starts to drift towards them. And the Lord starts to see this about, you know, Job. And the Lord had to do something about him because Job really belonged to the Lord and the Lord is jealous and he's not going to let you drift out like that when you belong to him. You see what I'm saying? All right. And offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Job made these sacrifices continually out of fear. You see what I'm saying? That his sons might have cursed the Lord. The God of his fathers. Not the God of, you know what I'm saying, another nation. Not, you know what I'm saying, not the God of Israel, like saying he's something apart from Israel. You know what I'm saying? Because he done seen the history. He knows the history. You know what I'm saying? He's of the bloodline. Okay? There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. You see this? The sons of God, you know who the sons of God are, bro?
Yes, sir.
Sons of God are the angels. Because they have to give account and report. You see what I'm saying? They always have to report to the Most High. Well, Satan was able to come with them. You see what I'm saying? He came with them to also give a report too. Just like in any kingdom, you know, a powerful king will have people, you know, he'll have his faithful servants, but then he'll have also too the people that he uses. You see what I'm saying? And he bringing him, you know, he's coming up to present his report also. You see what I'm saying? Now watch this. And Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? And then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, you know, and from walking up and down in it, going, you know, back and forth in the earth, going around in the earth, because the Bible says the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. You see what I'm saying? That's why he's going into and fro in the earth. He done peeped Job. You see what I'm saying? He wants to destroy Job. He wants to get him so badly. He doesn't care the fact that Job is perfect before the Lord. You see what I'm saying? He wants him badly. He's in no way, but then he's like, well, the Lord got a hedge of protection around him. So, well, I'm just going to keep on going, and you know what I'm saying? You know, that's just like a lion that sees a lamb that's protected. You see what I'm saying? Eventually, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, I ain't going to mess with him. He got that hedge over him, you know, I can't get through it, so I'm going to go for other prey. You see what I'm saying? That's what's going on here, right? Okay. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that fears God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him? You see this? So the devil already knew. He had already peeped him out. You know what I'm saying? Already, you know what I'm saying? He knew that Job was misplaced. You know what I'm saying? That Job is in the land of Edom. And he also has heathen friends. You know what I'm saying? And he's with these heathen friends comes heathen influence. You know what I'm saying? And Job had went to some of these influences. He swayed to some of these influences. But at the same time, the Lord still had that hedge around him. And Satan sees the transgressions of Job. And he's like, damn, I just can't get to him. Now he's mad. You know what I'm saying? Now he want to go before the Lord and say, well, you are just. You are, you know, then why are you defending him? You just and he doing this and you defending him. You see what I'm saying? Now he think he got an accusation against the Lord. And the Lord already being all wise and already knowing this, the Lord, you know, when he come up, the Lord already knew, what he wanted. And he asked him, have you considered my servant Job? The Lord knew he already wanted Job. You know what I'm saying? And Satan's like percolating now. He's like, oh, really? You gonna give me him? You know what I'm saying? And about his house and about all that he hath on every side, thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Now notice this. Now notice something, right? Satan's jealous. So how are his people that's in Mount Seir? How are they feeling?
He's jealous too.
Right. He's expressing the thought of the Edomites that are round about Job. You see what I'm saying? Because he's their prince. You know what I'm saying? You know, and as the prince is, the people are just like unto him. You see what I'm saying? As the king is, so is the people. Well, Satan's their king. You see what I'm saying? And he's expressing their thoughts. All right? But put forth thy hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Now, going back to the curse of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, was that one of the curses? Where they talk about the oxen, right? The oxen shall be taken by another people. I'm paraphrasing. But they will be taken by somebody else, and you'll have none to deliver. So, if Job was an Edomite, then why is this curse? Why is he undergoing this curse? Now, this is just one of the first ones that can be, easily precept. You see what I'm saying? Job is getting ready to go under the curses of Deuteronomy's 28th chapter. That's what's going on here. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped to tell thee. Now they took his oxen and slain his servants. You see what I'm saying? Now, what was the curse for that? You see, do you understand? That our enemies will come and slay us. They will come against us one way, and we will flee 7 ways. You know what I'm saying? And we will be slain in the fields, and we will be left as pretty much bird food for the other nations. So now they took his oxen and they slain his servants. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. You see this? Now, when you go into Revelations, right, and it talks about, the fire, saying he's able to make fire come down from heaven. You see what I'm saying? So now this shows you where the white man got his power from in order to his technology, in order to make fire come down from the heaven and destroy Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Atomic bomb warfare, nuclear warfare. You see what I'm saying? Because once again, Satan is the white man's prince. You see what I'm saying? And he's increased them in understanding concerning matters like this. But in the time of Job, right? Who did this? The Lord gave Satan, the leeway to go ahead and do these things to Job. So that means Satan had an ability to make the fire come down, just like what the white man has the ability to make the fire come down today. You see what I'm saying? Which proves, furthermore, that the white man is Satan's chosen people, just like the Most High has a chosen people. You see what I'm saying? Satan has a chosen people also, and his chosen people is the white man. That's why the Lord made us the last 2 nations to be formed on the face of the earth. You see what I'm saying? We were the very last nations in Genesis. One whose strength will be in the power of the Lord, and the others whose strength will be in the power of Satan. You see what I'm saying? 2 totally opposing forces. All right? While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels. There goes that curse again. Right? Another nation, the Chaldeans, came and grabbed the camels and ran them off, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men and they were dead. And I only am escaped to tell thee. Now, what precept is with this? Let me show you. Let's go to Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. Okay. You want to read that, young man?
I'm not even sure if I'm in the right spot.
I'll give you some time. Go ahead and find it. Hosea is going towards the end. It's after Daniel. You can find Daniel. It'll be after Daniel.
Okay, chapter.
Chapter 4 and verse 6.
Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, and I will also reject thee.
Well, said, since thou hast rejected knowledge, right? You know, the faults that Job had affected everything. Because Job was in a position as a king, right? And being the fact that he was in that position, this also hurt his children also, right? Okay, go ahead, read on.
That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of thou God. I will also forget thou children.
Right. Okay, you'll read that part when it says thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
I will also reject thee.
Now, read that part. Forgetting the law of thy God. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, and stop right there.
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thou God.
Okay. There's one law the Lord said for us not to make any covenants with the other nations. You see what I'm saying? What did Job do? Who was Job's friend? Job's friends. Now, friend in the Bible, means something more profound than what it does nowadays. We say, oh yeah, that's my friend. You know what I'm saying? That can mean anything. It's just a nigga that you smoke weed with. You know what I'm saying? But when you say friend in the Bible, that means somebody that you're with a covenant with and you're like unto. You see what I'm saying? King Solomon, for instance, was a wise man, the wisest man, but the king, rather, but he only had one friend, one person that was called his friend. And that was the son of Nathan the prophet. You see what I'm saying? That was his only friend. You see what I'm saying? Somebody that he was like unto. Judah had Hira the Edomite. That was his friend. There's somebody that you're like unto. But the Lord told us not to make a covenant with the other nations. And Job had Eliphaz the Temanite as one of his friends, who was of the nation of Edom. You see what I'm saying? So when it goes back to read that part again, when it says, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God.
Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I has also forgotten thou children. So
the Lord said, since you forgot the law of thy God, that he would also forget your children. That's why the children were killed. That's why Job's sons and everything was killed. Because Job, to an extent, forgot the law of his God. He was partial in the law. You see what I'm saying? Certain chief things, why would, this brother want to live in Edom in the first place. You see what I'm saying? There was plenty of room in Israel for Job to live. But he wanted to live there, which means partial of his heart belonged there. Just like when you have brothers and sisters, you know, that live in the hood or whatever, and they catch a good piece of change, good job, what do they want to do?
Move out there with the white folks.
Right, because their heart is there. You see what I'm saying? Their heart, a piece of their heart is with them. You know, they're being double-minded. You see what I'm saying? You know, and when the Bible say, when it talk about a person being lukewarm, you know what I'm saying? What it say? I will spew you out of my mouth. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord, for a temporary time, had spewed Job out. Because notice how long the Lord went without even talking to Job. You see what I'm saying? When that goes on, that means the Lord is pretty angry. You know what I'm saying? And as we see, the Lord didn't even start talking to Job until the 40th something chapter. You see what I'm saying? He went through all of that time silent. You know? All right. Yeah, when it says, okay, I will also forget thy children. That right there, you know what I'm saying? Job lost his sons and daughters. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Now, let's go back to... let me catch that. All right, bro.
I did it. How you doing, bro?
Shalom.
Shalom, how's it going, bro?
Yahweh, Basham, Yahweh Shah, Barakatah.
Yeah, I don't watch you. I'm shouting rock.
Which phone was you looking at? 517.
All right. Good.
Is it okay if I go on the woman's side?
Yeah, go ahead, because I know you need to see it. Right?
Yes,
yeah,
I guess.
Go ahead.
Look closer.
There you go.
Thank you. Shalom.
Okay, we are in. Let me grab some photos right quick.
I have it.
All right, yeah. See if it's another one up there. Yeah. Go ahead and pass those out.
Trying to figure. Okay, let's check that one. Yeah, we'll find out. Either way, I still understand the interpretation.
All right. We're in the book of Job, and what we're going over is the fact that Job was not an Edomite, or in translation, a white man. You see what I'm saying? Y'all know who Job is, right?
Yes.
All right, Job that went through all the afflictions that the Lord had allowed to come up on him, you know, who everybody refers to whenever they're going through something, you know what I'm saying? Everybody refers to Job. When they lose their job, when everything seems to not be going right in their lives, they always, look to Job, start reading Job, things like that,
That's right.
But there's a teaching going out that's saying that Job was actually an Edomite or a white man, which is so not true. Job was an Israelite man. And these stories are for us to grab a hold to. You see what I'm saying? These stories are for us, when we sit there and we see, because many people don't mention, the Christian church will have you thinking that, the Lord punished a man that was so righteous and such. He was righteous and he was perfect. But at the same time, he had flaws and things that need to be purged out of him. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord did that. Job had faults. You see what I'm saying? And his faults is what gave Satan access to come into his life. Just like our faults as the Israelites allows the devil to, Satan to come, and do things with us. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
It's the same thing right there because, Satan knows Job is a threat. Satan's not threatened by the white man. You see what I'm saying? He's not threatened by him at all. He's threatened by an Israelite man. You see what I'm saying? Okay, let's go back into the scripture. We're at about, we left off at.
We left off.
When he was
talking about his sons.
Huh?
When we was talking about his sons being killed.
Right, okay.
I have a chapter and a verse, please.
Yeah, okay. Chapter 1 and verse 19.
Ready.
All right. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the four corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job rose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return hither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. This is the thing that's keeping Job, safe from utter destruction. You see what I'm saying? Right? He knows, but there's also something going on here. Job do what a whole lot of brothers and sisters do. You know what I'm saying? We get to the point where we can't see ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Job doesn't even see himself until later on down the chapters. You see what I'm saying? That's why the Lord is doing all of this to Job. Well, allowing Satan to do all of this to Job. Satan is not persecuting his own group, his own people. You ever notice Eliphaz the Temanite ain't getting persecuted? You see what I'm saying? He's not getting it. Matter of fact, what's going on here also too is this is also stating this is like a microcosm of what's going on with the nations. When we're down, the other nations come up. You see what I'm saying? The other nations are prospering. Now notice when Job is down here, his other friends are actually prospering. You see what I'm saying? Which also proves that he's not an Edomite, because with us being at the lowest state that we are right now, who's prospering? The white man chiefly, and every other nation around him. Now, when you go back to the time of Black Wall Street, because we can't enjoy wealth and power at the same time. That does not happen. Black and white people cannot join hands and prosper at the same time. This is why the white man always wants to make sure that he latches you to him. You see what I'm saying? He always wants to make sure, because he knows that when you go down, he goes up. You know what I'm saying? That's why we should be separating from him, which Job had failed to do. You see what I'm saying? So what eventually happened was there was a shift. Just like what happened during the time of the Dark Ages. You know what I'm saying? When we was prospering and the white man was down, what did we do? We went into covenant with the white man. We started marrying white women. You see what I'm saying? We started, embracing white philosophy, and we start helping them out with scientific things. We start showing them laws in the Bible. Go ahead.
So, building castles.
Right.
Showing them how to govern their whole society.
Right. We sure did. Those are the things that we did. And what did they do? In turn, they came back and slew us. You see what I'm saying? And rose up over us and enslaved us. Because the Lord told us not to go into covenant with any other nation. Now, Eliphaz the Temanite, he wasn't a man that would, that was outwardly doing this. He didn't outwardly want to bind Job up and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, from character-wise, he wasn't even a bad dude. But he was still the enemy. And he was still the devil. You see what I'm saying? And he was still of the nation of whom the Lord told us not to make a covenant with. You know what I'm saying? One of the nations anyway. You know? So even in his friendship with Job, what did they start to do? Eventually they started to accuse Job. They like, see, look, just like what they do us today. We get brought down, what do? They start to accuse us. You see what I'm saying? No, nigga, you the problem. You your own destruction. You know what I'm saying? We ain't destroying you. Look what you're doing to yourself. That's what they're doing to Job. And who do they only do that to? They only do that to niggas. You know what I'm saying? Job was a nigga. Okay, let me read on. Okay, let's go into chapter 2, verse 1. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. Here we go again. You see what I'm saying? He coming up again to sit there to accuse Job again. You see what I'm saying? It's not even enough for him that Job is in this suffering position that he's in. He wants more pain and more suffering. You see what I'm saying? He wants Job to really, really suffer now. Just like what the white man wants us to do. You know, it's not enough for the white man just to take away all of our wealth. You know what I'm saying? He wants to make us sick in our bodies too. So now since he strips you of all your wealth, now you say vaccinations is the best way. You see what I'm saying? Now what does he do? He poison your food. Poison your water. You got you running around drinking water that look like damn chocolate milk. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, he's doing all of these because he's never content with his punishments upon black, Hispanics, and Native Indians. He's never content. You see what I'm saying? He will make you suffer and suffer and suffer. That's why I say he's coming back before the Lord again. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity. So the Lord is bragging upon Job, just like the Lord brags upon the nation of Israel when we're doing right. He's not bragging upon an Edomite here. You see what I'm saying? Job's life, what it's actually doing, Job's life is a prophecy of what the house of Israel has been going through, currently going through, and what will happen for us in the future. His whole life is a prophecy. A prophecy ain't just speaking a prophecy against somebody. You don't only prophesy with your mouth. You prophesy also when your life is a sign. You see what I'm saying? Like, say, for instance, you know, all the prophets in the Bible, whether they spoke, wrote a book of the Bible or whatever or not, their lives still were prophecies. You see what I'm saying? A man that can't speak or see can prophesy. You see what I'm saying? Just like, say, for instance, when it said Elisha, when Elisha died and was in the pit, and his bones, and remember the man died, and they threw him in the pit with Elisha's bones, and there was so much life in Elisha's bones that the man came back to life. You see what I'm saying? After being dead, right? That was a prophecy, because what did Christ say? With my slain, I'm paraphrasing, we said with his slain body, many shall rise, right? That was a prophecy, and his bones ain't get up, walk the earth, and say a damn thing, did they? You see what I'm saying? Job's life is also a sign. That's also prophecy is in a sign too. You see what I'm saying? You got cut. All right. Shalom. Y'all about Shema Shabbat. All right. Yeah. Job's life was also a sign. You see what I'm saying? And with his life being this kind of sign, he couldn't have been no other nation other than the nation of Israel. Let me read on. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. Right? And Satan answered the Lord and said, because even in this, Job didn't do any sins that were worthy of death. That's why the Lord said, you have moved me to destroy him without cause. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Satan answered the Lord and said, because it's like it, but the sins that he did only required severe chastity and not death. Okay? And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thy hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. You see this? Y'all see this? Now he's trying to get Job to a point where he curses the Most High to his face. This is what white people are trying to get us to do to the Most High. You see what I'm saying? They're trying to get us to totally give up on the Most High and turn and side with them, and they've been successful to a degree with a large portion of us. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
With a large portion of us, they have been successful to some degree in doing this.
That's right.
Because you try and drop the truth on some brother, oh, God, he ain't did nothing for me. He ain't did nothing for me. So on and so forth, saying all of this stuff. Why am I living like this then? If God loved me, why am I living like this? Why is this happening with me? If God loved me, well, what love have you given? You see what I'm saying? What love have you given him?
Right.
I mean, we in a society, like we have a real funky perception of a father. You know what I'm saying? We think the same thing about our dads. You know what I'm saying? My daddy never was there for me. He wasn't never there for me. What did he ever do for me? You see what I'm saying? In a lot of cases, we'll say, F that nigga. You know what I'm saying? We'll say that. But then we don't sit back and think, what have you done for him? What did you do for your father? What kind of son was you? You see what I'm saying? Because just like the responsibility of being a father is a responsibility, so is the responsibility of being a son. That's a job also.
I feel that.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And regardless of how your father did you or whatever, you still got a goddamn job.
That's right.
You can't go on your job with the white man, you know what I'm saying? Like, say, for instance, he's one thing, he got a job doing, like say, for instance, he's on the grill, you on the dishes. Well, that nigga ain't did his job on the grill. You know what I'm saying? So now, I don't need to do my job on the dishes. What type of damn sense that make?
Nah.
He got a job, you got a job.
That's right.
The supervisor got a job. You can't say, well, hell, he ain't supervising right. What did he ain't doing nothing right. He ain't, so, I'm just going to slack off. I'm not making sandwiches no more. He ain't, what he doing? You done told him to neglect your damn job as a sandwich maker just because you feel that your boss ain't doing right. What the hell is that? Where did you learn that from? You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
I'll tell you exactly where you learned it from. You learned it from the white man who was the damn devil. That's where you learned it from, and this stuff was also pushed by the Christian church to totally destroy the whole perception of power in the black man. You see what I'm saying? To strip his power plumb away from him. You see what I'm saying? And that little nigga's child is going to grow up to do him the same way. You see what I'm saying? He going to have to reap everything that he gave to his father. He going to have to reap it all. Don't mean to get too far off the topic, but, let's go back into verse 6 again. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life. The Lord said you can do whatever to him, just only spare his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto the crown, unto his crown. Right? That was also a curse of Deuteronomy 28. Right? And it was also a curse that was put up on us. This curse that Job's going under right now, what do you call it today? Well, what did you call it a few hundred years ago? You called it smallpox. Satan hit Job with smallpox. Who else did he hit in modern times with smallpox? He hit blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians with it. You see what I'm saying? Now think about this for a second. Satan gave Job smallpox, right? Because that's what smallpox is. You look it up. Look up smallpox. It's the same damn thing that's right here. You see what I'm saying? You look up smallpox, it's the same thing. Satan gave smallpox to Job. The white man gave smallpox to the Native Indians, who are Israelites.
I remember that.
You see the connection.
See something?
So the white man is what?
The devil.
Right. The white man is the devil. He's the physical walking counterpart of Satan. A lot of people don't like that. But ask me if I give a damn. And the other men and women in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, we don't give a damn either. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto the crown, unto his crown. Means he had him from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. You look at any documentary about smallpox and look at the pictures. Those dudes look like human squashes. You see what I'm saying? Bumps every damn where. That's smallpox. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Satan gave smallpox to Job without catching the smallpox himself. So who gave smallpox to the Native Indians without them catching it themselves?
The white
man. Right. They had caught it, but they became carriers of the disease.
Wow. That's not making sense. And you think about it, that's history. We know that.
How's it going, brother?
All right, brother. How you doing?
All right, brother.
All right.
Yeah, I have to search out the back.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Look through that in the phone.
And I never looked at it
What's
like
your name,
that
bro?
until just now.
Oh, okay.
My government.
Oh, okay. All right, you good, brother.
All right.
Counter to, and that's
Hey,
what
bro,
happened to the Indians.
Yeah,
Shalom.
go grab a seat, brother.
Yeah, well, I got the prayer running, man. I actually came. How you doing, bro? Okay. I came to get my apocrypha.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah, I had a wife. We're about to head to
Okay.
Chicago right now.
Oh,
man, in a couple hours.
okay. Yeah, this apocrypha was yours.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right.
I appreciate it. What
All
y'all? So y'all doing y'all in the middle of one right now?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I
that's
didn't
cool,
realize y'all was doing. Man, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
You love
I'm Tarab.
Tarab. Okay, I don't know who I
Tarab.
spoke. I'm not sure who I spoke to on the phone.
Okay, you probably spoke to Kapas.
Okay, I spoke to Kapas. I spoke to another cat too.
Oh, that was Tarab. That had to be me.
That was you
Yeah,
then.
that
We
had to
talked.
be
It
me.
was you and I
Right.
talking about the older schools and
Right.
talking
Yeah.
about getting up this. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank
that
you.
That was
Thank you.
one.
Man,
Oh,
it's
okay.
good to see you to me.
All right, brother.
Shit about that. You know about the you know how you do things, but man,
Right.
I I'm retired GD, And that's actually part of our literature for a long time was
Right.
the Hebrew Israelite thing. But that's why I don't know how we got to.
Okay, look, I'm gonna sit at the class while we talk. I'm gonna be off the camera.
Okay,
What was you saying?
yeah.
What was you saying, brother?
Yeah, well, that was the thing that we had done was part of the literature. Went back in the GD literature for a long time. So
All
I
right.
don't know how it was that we got
Yeah,
separated.
just grab a seat for a second.
Okay,
All right.
yeah. I didn't realize how we trying to understand how it was, man. That I think everything's for a reason, man.
Right,
And it just wasn't time.
right.
Because we've been down the streets for a long time, and
Right.
we've been talking about these different issues, but now it's just things that's happening.
Right.
And like I've been telling the brothers, man, I think like within the next 5 years that something's gonna happen. Because I think the end of this last trip of slavery is over with.
Right, yes, it definitely is.
I think it's coming to an end.
You know what I'm saying? Just like what Christ said, when he was talking to the Pharisees, he said you can read the signs up in the heavens and everything, but you can't see what's on the earth right in front of us.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can see by the signs that this thing definitely coming to a close. Our captivity is coming to a close. That's why we need to separate and cling into our people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what you're saying right now, it goes right into our class because the class is actually about Job, you know what I'm saying, the things that Job underwent, and Job was he was not separated, you see what I'm saying, from the other nations.
Right.
And he went through the things that he went through because of that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That was the root cause of why he was going through what he was going through. Job lived in the land of Uz. The land of Uz was in Edom. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right next to Judah. But he was in their land because he had Eliphaz the Temanite, who was a descendant of Esau, as his friend. You know what I'm saying? And a few others that were of other nations that were his friends.
Shalom. Let me bring my wife.
All right,
in for a minute. That's okay.
right. That's cool, brother.
Just
Yeah.
sit down for a minute because
All right.
now I'm having a hard time getting away. I gotta
All
go
right.
now. That's cool.
Mm.
Okay, let me go.
Very cool, brother.
The ladies sit on this side, so I might
Yeah.
behind you guys.
I'm gonna put her we're gonna be in the back. I'm gonna put her back here with me.
Okay,
All right, yeah, she
sit on that side.
Sit on that side.
Sit on this. Okay.
Yeah, you sat on this side.
I'm going right in.
Anthony, I'm gonna need you to move to the right side.
that's right.
Salaki, I forgot you got your Hebrew name. Abayala. Salaki.
Abayala.
Right.
Yala.
I need you to sit on that side.
Abaya Yala. Yes, sir.
Yes, but as I was saying, Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin. Yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. Now, why is Satan saying this? Why does Satan believe that, because he's done observed men. You know what I'm saying? Because he's done observed men, and being the fact that he's observed men and everything, he sees how men do. Because Satan, he's carnal. Just like his physical representatives, who is the white man upon the face of the planet. You see what I'm saying? Who is the physical representation of his person and his character. Okay? He says, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, but save his life. He told him, you do whatever but kill him. Yeah. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. But as I was mentioning to the brothers before, new students, that those sore boils is what we call smallpox. That's what Satan actually gave to Job. I was making mention of how Job went through all the curses of Deuteronomy 28, and that Job was not a white man. He was a Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? Because you have a lot of people that are teaching that Job was an Edomite. Right. Just because of the geographic location of where he lived at. He lived in the land of Uz. You see what I'm saying? And that's what they teach. They teach that he was Esau so that they can sit there and say, well, look how the Gentiles can be grafted in. You see what I'm saying? They want to graft in Gentiles, but at the same time, the Gentiles never suffered with us. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the qualifications. If they wanted to be grafted in, when we was in the cotton field, what would they have to do? Anybody?
Be picking that cotton with us.
Right. Were they trying to do that?
No.
No, they were not trying to work in the cotton fields from sun up to sundown. Go ahead.
No, if I can add to that, as a matter of fact, that guy most of the money in the world.
Yes. Yes.
But these people that's over here, the so-called people that's calling themselves Jewish people over in Israel right now, are the same people that own the hip-hop industry.
Yes.
And all our sources with the same sources, by the way, which is killing us.
Right. That's right. So that shows you they profit and prospered from our suffering. But now you have brothers and sisters that want to say, well, see, they can be saved. Well, then ask him this question. Tell him to empty out his bank account. Because he's living on slave money. You see what I'm saying? And the scripture, if a man stole, what's he supposed to do?
Repay.
Right. He's got to give back everything he stole. And not only that, but he's also to repay it sevenfold.
That's what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying? He should give back so what does that say? He should give back everything that he stole, and when he has nothing left, what else is he to do? Anybody know?
Take back sevenfold?
No. Yeah, but what is he to do immediately? So like say for instance, he's filthy rich, he then gave up everything. It's something else that he's supposed to do after that. Since he owes sevenfold. He just gave onefold. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, you gotta give some more.
Right. So that means he has to offer himself up as a servant.
Servant, that's right.
You see what I'm saying? Put himself into slavery. That's what he got to do. You see what I'm saying? He got to put the fetters and chains up on himself.
And bow down.
Right?
Is that
and
right?
say, Master, what you need me to do. You see what I'm saying? That's what he's supposed to do. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the most highest judgment. So you got people that sitting there pushing for reparations and all of that. You know what I'm saying? They talk about, they looking to get cut a damn check. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In order, go ahead.
Add to that, throughout my life, I'm in my 40s. And I'm originally from Chicago, but I've been out here for a while. And I see, and even really when you see Edomites, whose kids are the ones who be running around barefoot with little dirty black feet running around?
Yeah, it be the Edomites.
We always talked about throughout time how they never control their children.
Right.
And we always and it makes you wonder when you come into this knowledge understanding, it really makes you understand more of the things you've been seeing. And sometimes we, at some point in time, we didn't understand. When you know something is off and something is wrong.
That's right.
How these people came to be over us who are so nasty and vile and vicious.
Right.
But yeah, we run it. Any brother that know when you go to a company, you end up being the one to help and be the one running the whole thing.
Right.
And making everything smooth. But yet you wonder how it is these people that's over you, how they got this influence and this power over you. Right, so it makes sense, right?
See, right. Now we starting to see in the book of Job how this stuff started to come about. How they, Job's life, as I mentioned before, Job's life is a prophecy of what we will go through in the last days. You see what I'm saying? Notice how Job, right? Notice how Job was, he was on top at first. Now he gets the Edomite friends. He's in the land of Uz, and all of that. Next thing you know, there comes this. Job starts to get persecuted, and his friends start to go up. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let me go further. There's some real. Let me see what time we got.
Yeah, let me get us out of here, man. I gotta head out of town.
Okay, brother.
Man, thank you, brother, for having me, man. I apologize for not being able to stay the whole. Next time, I definitely gonna put in that time. And
all right, brother.
Long, fam.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Wow. This is what his wife said to him. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His wife said that to him. Now, think about this for a second. When a black man comes into the truth and he loses his job, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He started to lose his friends because the Lord started to shake up some things in his life. You see what I'm saying?
Can see that.
The Lord take the job away from him because the Lord never gave that job to him in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So he starts to move and shake up the things that the Lord did not really give him for real. You see what I'm saying? Which the Lord did bless Job with these things. You see what I'm saying? The Lord blessed Job with these things, but the Lord he didn't want him to rest in those things. He has something greater for him. And with anything that the Lord gives you that's gonna be greater than what you have now, there's gonna be a hell of a trial that's gonna come with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord don't just slap you. He's not a genie. He don't hit you with the magic wand, you know, and then presto, and then you get this and you get that. No, it doesn't work that way. Whatever you get from the Lord that's worth having, you're going to have to suffer for it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to suffer for that. You're going to have to go through things for it. Because every force in hell is going to try to stop you from getting it. You see what I'm saying? You know, whenever the Lord say that, whenever the Lord going to bless you with something, the devil knows. You know what I'm saying? And all of his forces is there to stop you. That's the reason why when we was led from the wilderness into the land of Canaan, in the land of milk and honey, what was there? All the forces of Satan. All the powerful armies of the Canaanites were there. The Amalekites were waiting on us. You know what I'm saying? The cities of giants were waiting on us. We had all type of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? Because they were there to stop you from getting it. You see what I'm saying? Everything, the Lord is a man of war. So that means what? It means everything is a fight. Everything is a fight for survival. You see it in the animal kingdom. You see what I'm saying? You see it in the kingdom of anything. Fishes, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Nations of people on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a fight for the survival of its species. Okay? Now, who is Satan using to come against Job? Let me read it again.
His wife.
Right. He's using his very own woman. You see what I'm saying? He come at his woman, not even at the friends and stuff first. He come at his woman first.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Who does the white man come at when we at camp and we kicking the truth? You know what I'm saying? We at camp and we speaking the truth and all of that. Who does Satan come at? They say if there's a white man out there that's you know, and he's being, you know, he's coming up against what we saying, but he can't prevail over us. What does he do? What is the first thing he do? He see a black woman over there, he try and go talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? He try and go talk to that black woman. You know, he like, you really believe what do you really believe what these guys are saying? Oh boy, are these guys racist? You see what I'm saying? He's coming like that. Next thing you know, she was listening at first, but now she's feeding on his philosophy. Now she running her mouth coming up at us. At first she wasn't saying that. You know what I'm saying? She had something in her to make her want to say something. But she's like, well, I don't want to get embarrassed. And you know what I'm saying? But now the devil come and get in her ear. Now she get a confidence coming from him.
Mm-hmm.
Now she come up and say something. Hey, so you saying that only black people can be saved? You saying that, you saying that this and that? Or how do y'all treat women? You see what I'm saying? Now she coming with all that. Because Satan done got in her ear. You niggas need to get a job. You niggas need to such and such. That's the same spirit that's provoking Job's wife to say this. Dost thou remain thine integrity? She's even mocking him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Dost thou remain thine integrity? Look at y'all's clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Why y'all dressed like Power Rangers? Why y'all such and such a? Why don't y'all? Then she goes and says this: curse God and die. Then you see that translated into y'all need to just go kill yourself. Y'all don't want to. Y'all feel all y'all just kill yourself.
Right.
They'll say that to you too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm good.
So Job was a black man with a black wife. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
With a bitter black wife that told him just go curse himself and die. Now, many brothers that had their wives have told him this many times.
Mm-hmm.
Put in other words, put in another form, but have told you that. You know what I'm saying? Let a nigga lose his job. And all hell break loose and he can't make the money.
Right.
Now she looking at you like, you ain't shit.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't shit. You ain't bringing nothing to that. What is she telling you? What is she really telling you for real? Let me show you what she's telling you.
Good.
Curse God and die. That's what she's really telling you. You see what I'm saying? If Job was a white man with a black wife, she wouldn't be telling him that. She would be saying, baby, you know you're gonna make it because they'll be a helpmeet unto the white man. Baby, you know you're gonna get that corporate job, baby. You're gonna get out there and I'm gonna help you and I'm on such and such a, but you lose your damn job at Ford Motor Plant. You depressed and you all messed up. She's not coming to rub you back 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
If she ain't no woman in the UPK, she ain't coming to rub you back. She gonna see that weakness, you know, in you and how you down behind losing that job. She gonna see one thing. She gonna see weakness. That's it. And what she gonna do? She gonna tell you to curse God and die. That's what she's gonna do. But she won't come at the white man the same damn way. Let the white man that she work at and her company that's a boss, let his company take a hit. You think she gonna come at him like she come at you?
Right.
He can be brought down into, she's still gonna be the good old little secretary. You know what I'm saying? She's still gonna be that good secretary. She's still gonna come with the paperwork. She's still gonna do every damn thing he say. You know what I'm saying? But you, on the other hand, let you lose your job. She can have enough money to take care of all the bills, but she's still gonna tell you, curse God and die. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every black man should have them a UPK woman. You know what I'm saying? Should seek to seek to have a UPK woman. You know what I'm saying? That's the only kind of woman that's going to be the pillar of rest to you that you need her to be because she's taught right. Mm-hmm. These women in these other Israelite groups that, you know, whether a Christian group or one of these Israelite groups that, you know, they're just like the Christian church. They just do certain things different. Mm-hmm. They keep the Sabbath days and the feast days. They'll do, you know what I'm saying? They'll mock, you know, they'll have this, you know, bastardized version of the UPK, but the substance is not there.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's like having 2 wine bottles with the wine skins. Mm-hmm. One has good aged wine in it, wine that went through something, wine that was, you know, that was taken care of, wine that was put in the cellar like it was needed, while the other one is this bottle, actually a bottle of vinegar.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because when you're making wine, right, if you don't make the wine right, and the wine is not trained right, mm-hmm. that what should be wine ends up becoming vinegar. You see what I'm saying? Right. While the other one is done right, everything is done, all the bacteria is out of it, that wine right there becomes wine. You see what I'm saying? Now you put it through the aging process. You know what I'm saying? Age it however long you want, but the one that's vinegar, that's only good for being vinegar. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit back and have your cup of that and set out in the yard, you know what I'm saying, with the grill and drink that. No one's going to want to do that. You know what I'm saying? But even though when they in skins, they look the same.
Right.
They both looking virtuous. One has the good substance in it, and the other one has the bitter substance in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do understand that.
And the way if a man want a good wife, he get inside this school and he get these boots on. You know what I'm saying? That's the way he do it. He get these boots on. He get down in this all black. He get these boots on. Get that headpiece. You know what I'm saying? Rock out with the brothers. Show thyself approved. And you know what I'm saying? There will be some sister there that will be waiting on you. You know what I'm saying? Prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like a bridegroom. Like a bride that's being, prepared for the groom.
Right. I can understand that.
But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaking. Job checked her ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God and shall not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. You can tell that was a black man. Person said, what? You know what I'm saying? Who talks like that? Because the Bible is written in our lingo. You know what I'm saying? The way that we speak, the Bible is written in that. First thing he said to her, he's like, but he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaking. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? We quick to say that. Nigga, what? You know what I'm saying? Shall we receive good at the hand of God and shall not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips when you're going through something. Right? You gotta not only check her if she comes silly, you even gotta check yourself. You know what I'm saying? And Job was adamant about his love for the Lord here. You know what I'm saying? Whether he was ready to, in his mind, he's ready to kick the ass of the spirit that try to provoke him to verbally go against the Lord. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the spirit of a black man right there. Now, what I'm going to do here is go to, get a little bit pressed for time. Let's go to Job chapter 29. Now, this is a dead ringer of this being the prophecy of Israel, you know what I'm saying? And then Israel's fall and the rise of another people. Damn, wish I had more time to go over this one. Might even have to break out a part 2, but Job chapter 29 verse 1. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, oh, that I were in months past, as in the days when God preserved me. Now, what is he talking about here? Let me tell you what he's talking about. In times past, when the Lord preserved him, right? Job is a representation of us right now. He's representing us. Right. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's why he's talking about in times past. Now he's in a moment of suffering. That's why we talk and we say we were kings. Okay. In times past, we were kings. We don't even know where that comes from. That's something that's deep in our spirit. We knew that we were royalty in times past, and we took a fall. Okay. You see what I'm saying? When his candle shined upon my head. What is the candle shining up on the head? When you go to the book of Acts, when they said, when they sat in the room And it said they had like a flame as fiery tongues upon their head, right?
Right.
He's saying when the Spirit of God was mighty and strong upon him, right? When his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness. Because what did he have? He had the law, statutes, and commandments, which gave him the light. You know what I'm saying? Which gave him the light that he needed to see through a dark world, right?
Right.
Which was also when it, you know, what was going on with us. The light was upon us. We were able to see in a dark world full of heathens, while they weren't able to see and they was blinded, and they had to, like gnats, they had to gravitate to the light. You see what I'm saying? Gnats, when you cut on the light out on the porch light, what eventually starts happening? The little insects that was in the dark, now I got to swarm around that light. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I can't see.
Right. You see, they love that warmth, that, you know what I'm saying, and all of that that's around that light. Well, that's how, when the light shines upon us, that's how the Gentiles see us. They ain't going to have a choice but to gravitate to us. And in return, what we're going to do is they're going to serve us. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Young man, can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can you relight this incense for me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, you got it? Okay. All right. As I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of God was upon my tabernacle. Wait a minute. It said when the secret of God was up on his tabernacle, the secret of God was never up on the tabernacles of Edom.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Never. And when they talk about the secrets of God, this is a holy thing right here. This is something that's, you know what I'm saying, totally separate, totally sanctified. You know what I'm saying? When the Almighty was yet with me, and my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The blessing right there. You see, the white man has to kill and destroy in order to get oil. He has to take it. You see what I'm saying? Job was just blessed with it. You see what I'm saying? When I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the streets. What is this, preparing his seat into the streets? Means he's the man with the knowledge. Yeah. Whom everybody should come to with the knowledge. Who did they come to during the time of the Dark Ages? They come to black men for the knowledge to get themselves out of the fall. Okay. Who did they come to in America? They came to the native Indians to get the knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Who did they come to, during the time of the apostles? They came to the Israelites to get the knowledge. Okay. You see what I'm saying? No knowledge was coming out of Edom like that. Paganism came up out of them. So what does that mean Job was? Job was an Israelite. Job wasn't an Edomite Christian pastor running around teaching white people how to serve God. You're right. You see what I'm saying? Definitely. When I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, the young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged arose and stood up. The young men saw him because young men is about what? About foolishness, right? Young men mind, you get this hoe over here, get this broad over here, see, she get live, he out there rapping, and you know what I'm saying? But when they seen him, they fled. When they seen Job, they took the hell off. You know what I'm saying? Got out of Dodge. Right. When the young men seen him, they jetted. You know what I'm saying? And it said here, and the aged arose and stood up. You see what I'm saying? The aged men arose, and they stood up, you know what I'm saying? They out of reverence and respect. You know what I'm saying? Because Job was what? He was a prophet of the Lord. You see what I'm saying?
I can understand that.
And the young men saw him, a lot of times were Edomite young men, you know what I'm saying, that were out, they had that mind to hunt and that mind to, you know what I'm saying, to see how they should come up against Israel. You know what I'm saying? How can they how can they go into Judah, you know what I'm saying, and take a spoil about it? How can they go in, rape the women, take all the precious thing that's in Judah and everything, right? Because Judah was not right next to Judah was right next to Edom. Judah is where us African Americans lived at. You know what I'm saying? They wondered how could they raid the place? How can they do a Black Wall Street up on them? But when they seen Joe, they're like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? They wanted a jet then. They, you know what I'm saying? All they hunting shit, you know what I'm saying, went out the window. And the aged men, the old Edomites, and the old people, the older of the other nations that's supposed to have the wisdom and everything, stood up because and in reference to him, because they knew his wisdom was far greater than theirs. That's the same thing that we went through during the time of the Dark Ages also. You see what I'm saying? The same thing. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth. They ain't say a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? The leaders of that people shut up. You know what I'm saying? The nobles held their peace, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When the ear heard me, then it blessed me. And when the eye saw me, it gave witness to me. Because I delivered the poor that cried, and the fatherless, and him that had none to help. You see what I'm saying? This is what he did right here. Now, we also did this. We even did this with other nations also when we was in a position of power. We also even sometimes helped out if another nation was being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? We did that then also when we was on top. You see what I'm saying? Because we're the ones that set order in the earth. Right. Job was a man that was like unto this. Job was a forerunner of what we're going to be again. You see what I'm saying? The blessing of him that was ready to perish came upon me. And I caused the widow's heart to sing for joy. You see what I'm saying? I put on righteousness as it clothed me. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. I was eyes to the blind, and feet was I to the lame. Now notice it said, I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. Right? Like a king putting on a robe, you know what I'm saying? Because the Bible said we will be a nation of kings and priests. He put on that robe of righteousness. My judgment was as a robe and a diadem. A diadem, you mean he's saying he was a king and a priest. See what I'm saying? Verse 14 is saying that. He was a king and a priest. We are going to be a nation of kings and priests because we can go in. We're going to be able to go into any land, right, and tell them what to do. We're going to, just like a priest, we're going to be able to tell them how to separate the clean from the unclean, the evil from the good. You know what I'm saying? How to separate that. And we're going to be like a king is because these nations are going to be paying us tribute. They're going to be paying us tribute, and we're going to lay down the law there. And we're going to, just like a king, we're going to be telling them, if you don't do this, then this is going to happen. So you saying that you don't want to come up to Jerusalem? Oh, you saying you have a problem doing that, right? Well, be willing to deal with the problem of having no rain. Be willing to deal with that. So now they're going to think, well, all right, okay, we're coming up. Yeah, I thought so. You see what I'm saying? Just like a king, can sit there and say, you're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And when they do what's right, hell, they're going to receive a blessing too. Because they're going to get the rain. The Lord's going to cause the rain to fall upon the land. So now they will be able to eat. They will be able to be full. They will be able to take care of a cows and all that, raise nice fat cows so they can get good and strong so that they can be good slaves.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Just like in the South when they would have the black woman feed the black man real good. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't doing this because she loved him. She was doing it because she loved Master. But that good old country breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? That big old meal, make sure that black man got fed good so that he can go out in that field and work all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's going to be something similar. The Lord is going to give them the rain so that they grow good crops, so they will be a nation of people that will be strong to serve. You see what I'm saying?
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Now, what I'm getting ready to do right here is now I'm getting ready to go to the shift. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay. Now, as we go to Job 30, let's go to Job 30 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Job chapter 30 and verse 1. But now, wait a minute, hold on. Something's going on here. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm going to go back to 25 just to make a further point of what I was just saying. And then I'm going to go into 31. All right? Job 29 and 25. Just to confirm what I was saying about us being like king and the priest, about Job being like a king and a priest in the land and how we're going to be. Job saying here, I chose out their way. What does this mean? Young man, do you understand? Do you know what it means?
I chose out this way like I chose this way.
Right. You chose out his way means you governed his affairs. You was his governor.
Mm-hmm.
You was his advisor. You told him what to do. You know what I'm saying? You told him what to do to, you know what I'm saying, that, like say for instance, go in the land of China. You're going to choose out their way by telling them, y'all ain't eating no damn dogs no more.
Okay.
That's unclean right there. Y'all not doing that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You want to know why you got this sickness now? You know what I'm saying? Because while we on the bottom, they eat dogs and they're not getting sick. You see what I'm saying? But when we start to rise, what's going to happen is those same dogs and octopuses and all of that they was eating, now their lives are going to start to be cut short. You see what I'm saying? They're going to be living only to be 40, 35, 30. Just like we live only to be those ages by eating pork and eating all shrimp and all of that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Their lives, they're not going to be living 110 no more, eating no goddamn octopus.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? The Lord is going to put the curse upon them to where they're going to be cut off at 40. Then they're going to say, what can we do? What can we do to where our life expectancy is cut short now?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tell them, you're not eating the damn octopuses. You're not eating no damn dogs anymore. You're not going to sit there and murder those animals, you know what I'm saying, to fulfill your damn lust. You want to know why you're living, to be, why your life expectancy was cut 60 years? I'm telling you now, I'm choosing you. You're choosing his way. You're not eating that. This is what you'll eat. You see what I'm saying? This is what you'll feed your people. This is what you're going to do with the land. You're not going to sit there and make the land suffer. You're going to let the land rest in the 7th year. That's what you're going to do. I chose out their way and sat chief and dwelt as a king in the army. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever they would go out against another army, Job was in the land to say, no, what you should do is you attack them this way. Or you attack them that way.
Mm-hmm.
First, you'll find out whether it's right for that nation to attack that other nation.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because you don't really want to be a partaker in their sin. So once you find out and you clear it, they'll be like, oh, that other nation is wrong. Because you judging them out. You know what I'm saying? And then they saying, oh, y'all think y'all something because y'all got that nigger Job? Y'all think y'all something because the other nation is coming up against them? Now you sit as a king. What you'll do is you'll do this to them. You'll do that to them. You'll do such and such to them. You know what I'm saying? You'll send in this right here first. You know what I'm saying? Weaken their forces, and then bring the strong in and go ahead and take them on over. Go ahead. Go ahead. Shalom. Let me pat you down.
Wow.
Let me pat you down.
It's almost over now.
All right, you good. Okay. And dwelt as a king in the army, as one that comforteth the mourners. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, something's different here. Now notice what Job is doing. He's comforting the mourners. You see what I'm saying? He's comforting the mourners of the strange nation that went out to, that husbands or whatever got killed in the battle. He's comforting the mourners, right? But what he's actually doing is he's doing this not among his own people. He's with another people doing it. He's supposed to be comforting the mourners of his own people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? This is some of the reasons why the Lord allowed these things to come up on Job to look, hey, look, you're not right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But now, they that are younger than I have me in derision. You see what I'm saying? Why is he saying that they're younger than him? This is the reason why he's saying this. He's saying that they're young; those that are younger than him have him in derision because Israel is the firstborn. You see what I'm saying? Israel has the right of the firstborn. That's why he says, they that are younger than I have me in derision. Means the nations that are supposed to be following after him as the older brother nation now have him in derision, which us as the nation of Israel are the firstborn. We have the right of the firstborn, but the ones that are younger than us are now ruling us. You see what I'm saying? The white man is ruling us. The Arab man is ruling us. The Chinese man is ruling us. That's what it means here. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have sat with the dogs of my flock. Now this particular nation that he's talking about right here, this particular nation right here, is the nation of Esau. You see what I'm saying? Because where did Job dwell at? Job dwelled in the land of Uz.
It's Tony.
All right, go ahead. Get it. He dwelt in the land of Uz. You see what I'm saying? So who is he talking about? Who he wouldn't set with the dogs of his flock? You know what I'm saying? The dogs of his flock would also be the sexual, the immoral of the group. You know what I'm saying? You know, he wouldn't even put them with the dogs of the flock. They're so vile, they're that vile. You see what I'm saying? Because you mingle the Amalekites among the gay black community or something like that, they'll probably never repent and turn back to the Lord. That's why Job said he wouldn't even put them with the dogs of his flock. You see what I'm saying? Yea, whereunto might the strength of their hands profit me. You see what I'm saying? He's like, how can they possibly profit me? These people can't profit him nothing. What group is this? Amalek. Amalek can't profit Job a damn thing. You see what I'm saying? Because when you look at the scriptures, all the nations they gave to the nation of Israel, they gave of their substance once the nation of Israel beat them in battle. It's one nation that you never see that said, and they gave unto king such and such and such and such. And you never see that with the Amalekites.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The Amalekites never gave unto Israel. We just had to take from them. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Amalekites don't give to Israel to this day. What do? They take. You see what I'm saying? They're the stingiest, the Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? You know how they talk about how stingy and how hateful, you know what I'm saying, they are? Mm-hmm. Even when people work for them and all of that, they do not know kindness, you know what I'm saying? And if they give you anything, believe me, it's going to cost you way more than you can afford to give. You see what I'm saying? They give you any damn thing. In whom old age was perished. For want and famine, they were solitary. Right? Now, when you go into a book called The 13th Tribe, in that book, it would be nice if I had that book right now, but that book, The 13th Tribe, shows a people that they called the Gahuz, that lived up in the Caucasus Mountains, that lived, a portion of Khazaria, you know what I'm saying? These were the Jewish man when Rome fell. You see what I'm saying? Okay. For want and famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former times, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried to them as a thief. Now notice, this is the situation that this group is in while Job is on the top. You see what I'm saying? If we get moved up to the top, the Jewish man and them are going to be hurt. They're going to fall down to the bottom. Y'all get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're going to collapse and go down to the bottom. That's what's going to happen. To dwell in the cliffs of the valley and caves of the earth and in the rocks. Now, let me skip down. I want to show where they're.
Captain Pop, where are we?
In Job chapter 30.
Thank you.
We're going to start at verse 8. Now we're at verse 8, rather. You there yet, young man?
Job chapter 30, verse 8.
If you want
Yes,
to read
sir.
that? You want to read that? You got that?
Yes, sir. Job chapter 30, verse 8. They were children of fools.
Right.
Yet, children of base men. They were viler than the earth.
They were the children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Right? What does that mean? They were more immoral than any damn body. Nobody even wanted to even touch them at this time.
That's right.
Even in their so-called cleanest state, nobody should still want to touch them. Let me precept that. Let's go to Psalms chapter 12. You can go to Psalms chapter 12 and verse 8. Got that? Anybody got that?
Psalms what?
Chapter 12 verse 8. Remember what we just read in Job? It said they were viler than the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
12, verse 8. I'm ready.
The wicked walked on every side. What does this mean? Does anybody know what this means?
They walk everywhere.
Yes, the wicked are everywhere. What is that? The LGBT, whatever the hell you call it, LBGT community?
Yeah, the gaming community.
Right. They're everywhere now, right?
Right.
Where were they at 20 years ago?
Nowhere.
You didn't see them, did you?
No.
Can anybody tell me who was on top? The white man was on top back then, but who specifically, what stock of the white man is on top? Who has full power now?
White man.
Jewish white man.
Right.
The Jewish white man. You hear this? They are even on top of the regular white man. because they're more subtle and crafty and more evil and slick. That's why the white man hates them, because the regular white man is out slick by that particular group. You see what I'm saying? That's why they hate them so badly. Go ahead.
Where did the Jewish people come from? They all look white to me.
They are white.
Right, but what tribe or?
They come from Amalek. As a matter of fact, before closing out the class, I'm going to show you exactly where they come from. We're going to go into this scripture first, and then I'm going to end the scripture with that. I'm going to end the class with that, rather. Because it's 6:30 now. Okay? The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. What does it mean by them being exalted? It means them being put in what?
In a higher place.
Yeah, right. The vilest, it said the wicked walk on every side, means the wicked is everywhere. Whatever evil, lust, and desire that you can do, you can openly do it. You want to sleep with animals, you can openly do it. You want to child molester, they pass laws who are making that legal now. You know what I'm saying? Where they can have sex with kids under like 9 or 10 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They're making laws to where, you know what I'm saying? I mean, any damn thing goes now, and who's at the top making these laws?
White man.
Yes, the white man, but also within the whiteness, who is the Jewish white man. He controls all the laws.
True.
He controls the media, the monetary system, and the military. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's that 3M control. You control those 3 things, you control the whole damn society. Now, what we're going to do, let's go back to Genesis chapter 36 to close out the class. We're going to show where that man actually comes from. And these are the men that are now starting to get the leg up on Job, who is an Israelite. And those are the men that are up on us right now, who hijacked the civil rights movement and all of that. We were like Job, who went in the league with them, and next thing you know, they ruling over us, and we serving them. You see what I'm saying? We in a low, bad state, bad state, and they're in a high state. You see what I'm saying? Now, Job chapter 36 and verse...
I thought you said Genesis.
No, Genesis, Genesis.
Salaki.
Let's go to, we'll start at 10, or 9 rather. Y'all ready?
We're back in Job.
Job chapter 36 and 9.
I thought you said Genesis.
I keep saying Job. Genesis,
Right.
Salaki. Genesis
Salaki.
36 and 9.
36, I'm at 26. And 96. Genesis chapter 36 and 9.
And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz. Well, I want to get to where it says the dukes, but all right, I'm gonna run through this. Okay, these are the name of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the wife of Esau; Reuel, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. Oh, that man right there, Reuel, the son of Bashemath. Bashemath was one of Ishmael's. He was Ishmael's daughter. You know what I'm saying? Esau married Ishmael's daughter, the sister to Nebaioth. You know what I'm saying? Which, this is where your white Muslims, you see what I'm saying? Starting to come from. Y'all get what I'm saying? This is what started that whole white Muslim thing. You know what I'm saying? Even though it wasn't called Islam back then, but Islam, the Russians, the white people, a large portion of white people are Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And this is behind their league with you know what I'm saying, with Ishmael. Esau's league with his uncle Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? And he took one of his daughters. He married his cousin. You know what I'm saying? And had children with her. You know what I'm saying? And both, you know, them had a thing against Jacob, of course. Right? And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman. Eliphaz is his firstborn. Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. Y'all hear this? Timnah was a Horite woman. You know what I'm saying? Of the children of Seir. Now she became a concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. Watch. And she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now she was the only concubine of Eliphaz. Eliphaz had wives. She became the concubine to Eliphaz, and the concubine, even by the wives, is treated a little less. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a wife that started as a servant. You know what I'm saying? So that automatically started to make a breach between Amalek and his brothers. You see what I'm saying? This started to separate him. Right? And his mother was so badly seeking an heir that she was willing to go ahead and become a concubine, become a servant. That's how bad she wanted to raise an heir. You see what I'm saying? To raise an heir that will be powerful and take over the nation, to try and take over the nation of Israel. You see what I'm saying? That's the whole thought behind her getting with Eliphaz in the first damn place, is to produce a son that will be a great usurper. That will be the slickest and slimiest, you know what I'm saying, of all the sons of Esau. Amalek is the father of the white man, the Jewish white man. He's the father of the Rothschilds, the father of the damn Rockefellers, the father of the Vanderbilts.
Like the Kennedys.
No, not the Kennedys. Kennedys come from another stock of Esau, not the Kennedys. But, you know, those groups right there, they're the ones that are up high right now, you know what I'm saying? Kennedys and them noticed a lot of conspiracies and went against a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? They weren't of this stock right here. They wasn't of this slimy stock. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they were more noble than any other family of Esau, but they just wasn't quite as evil. You see what I'm saying? They wasn't as evil as the Amalekites. They knew about how the Jewish rule was, you know what I'm saying? And they always had assassinated anybody that spoke against the Jewish conspiracies and all of that.
Edomite.
She birthed forth a conspirator, you know what I'm saying? A man that would be slimy and lower than all the slimy. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that man today is the Jewish man, and that's why even other white people hate the Jewish white man. And with that being said, that concludes our class. We are the Isupk, coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. Pay your tithes, help to support the men of the Lord. Help to fight the battle, support your truth. The men that's out there in these streets every day on the behalf of you, telling you to come back to the Lord and to separate you from your enemies as good shepherds are supposed to do. And with that being said, Shalom!
Shalom!
Yeah, you can still ask your question. How do I stop this one?